Hello, my fourth grade friends. This is Mrs. Mowers. I am here today to remind you of how we compare decimal numbers. So, there are two very important things when we are comparing decimals. The first thing that we need to remember is our place value positions. So, before we begin, I want to review our place value positions. So, if I said place value okay, you would say TH on the right side, hundredths, tenths, decimal point right here, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Yeah. So our decimal numbers are broken up into two parts. To the left of the decimal are our whole numbers. To the right of the decimals are our parts of a whole. They always end in TH. So when we are comparing decimals, we always use three symbols. We compare with greater than. Oops, that's not greater than. Sorry, we compare with greater than, less than, or equal to. Now, in order to compare, our very second most important thing after we remember our place values is to remember to stack our numbers. If I gave you a problem that said 17 and 28 hundredths, and we are comparing it to 17 and 82 hundredths, the very first thing that we would need to do is stack our numbers. I know Miss Kent is a big fan of stacking numbers, and so am I. So I start by making our decimal points line up. I do the TH on the right side first, so I'm going to write 28 here, and then I'll do my whole numbers next. Here is my ones place, here is my tens place. I'll move to my second number, TH on the right side. Here is my tenths. Here are my hundredths. I'll go back and I'll fill in my ones, making sure that my ones are underneath the ones on top. My tens are underneath the tens on top. Now, I have to compare them place value by place value. If I look here at my tens place, they're both the same. I cannot tell which number is bigger just by looking at the tens. If I go to the ones place, again, they're both the same. I cannot tell which one is bigger. I move on to the tenths place, and I can see that the numbers are not the same. So I have to ask myself, is 8 tenths greater or less than 2 tenths? I know that there is a difference here, and I know that 8 is greater than 2. So over here, when I fill out my equation, my symbol is going to have to point to the bigger number. I get 2 dots pointing to the number that has 8 tenths because 8 tenths is greater than 2 tenths. Okay. So I went place value by place value. It wasn't until I got to the tenths place that there was a difference. So in some cases, you might have a number that they don't have the same amount of place values. What if I had 145 and 68 hundredths, and we're comparing that to 145 and 6 tenths. We still have to line up these numbers. Place value, that looks like it's part of it. Place value by place value. Okay, so here is my 145. I'm going to start with my decimal points for each number. I'll do my hundredths and tenths first. So 6 tenths, 8 hundredths, and then I fill in my ones, tens, hundreds. I have to be very careful to line them up. for my next number, I don't start off with my 6 underneath the 8. That is not lining up my place values. This is in the tenths place, so it needs to be in the tenths place here. It's helpful when you have your decimal points because then you know that it's right next to that. I will then put my ones, my tens, my hundreds. There is nothing here in the hundredths place, so I can go ahead and put my imaginary 0 there. I know that there's nothing there, so we can mark it with a 0. When I compare, I look at my first 3 place values. Hundreds, same number in each. Tens, same number in each. Ones, same number. So far the wholes are not helping me figure out which number is greater. When I get to my tenths place, it's the same number in each, so I can't make a decision yet. I have to look at my hundredths. Now, I know that 8 is greater than 0, so that means 8 hundredths is going to get my 2 dots. It is greater than 6 in the tenths place, because 8 is greater than 0, or 68 hundredths is greater than 60 hundredths. Okay, just to review, the important things here: knowing your place values and lining them up from the decimal point. Stack them and always make sure your decimals are right underneath each other. Ones, tens, hundreds are all lined up. Tenths, hundredths are also all lined up. Remember, when you use the symbol, the 2 dots will point to the number that is greater. If you're missing a digit, you know that you can fill it in with a 0. One final example. If I had something that looked like this, 78 and 96 hundredths, and I'm comparing that to 102 and 54 hundredths. I am still going to stack those with the decimal point, starting with my parts of a whole. 8, 7, 2, 0, 1. I know that just because there's nothing here, I can put a 0 there. So my hundreds, I know that 100 is greater than 0 hundreds, so my 2 dots will point to that number. All right, good luck, my friends. Please message Miss Kent or I if you have any questions.